AI language models have taken the world by storm. Ever since ChatGPT came out in 2022, AI has become much more prominent in our lives. With that revolution comes opportunities. In today's episode, I want to give you some principles and tips on how you can use AI to learn English better and faster. Let's get started. Hey there, how's it going? Thiago here, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. In case you're new here, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel already because this channel is designed to help intermediate and advanced learners of English communicate with more confidence, more accuracy, more clarity, and more awareness. So if this sounds like something you want for yourself and your English, subscribe to the channel here so you don't miss a single new episode. If you like to listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow the show so you don't miss a single new episode. And before we get started with the topic today, check out my private community. This is a private community where you get to interact with other members. You get to join live calls with members to practice your speaking skills. You get to share your questions about English, your struggles, your victories, your wins. And by becoming a member of my private community, you also unlock some exclusive material and content that is not available on my public channel, like extra videos, extra lessons, and many other cool stuff. So check that out, and also check out my pronunciation course. My pronunciation course teaches you the main sounds of the English language, the main connected speech patterns that native speakers use in real media, in podcasts, in movies, and TV series. So if you want to improve your listening skills and pronunciation abilities, check out the pronunciation course as well. Both the links for the private community and the pronunciation course can be found here under the video in the description, also in the pinned comment below, and in the show notes if you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. All right. So let's talk a little bit about AI. So first, let's understand a little bit what generative AI is. Basically, there are two types of AI: predictive AI and generative AI. Predictive AI, predicts something based on usually past behavior. So for example, think about the algorithm on Facebook. You know, when you are scrolling down on Facebook or even Instagram, and then certain ads show to you, those ads are run using predictive AI because, based on your past behavior on the platform, on your interests, this predictive AI tries to predict what kind of ads, what kind of products you are likely interested in. The same thing happens on YouTube. Think about the YouTube algorithm for recommending videos. Based on your past experience with the platform, on your past behavior, the kinds of videos you have watched here, this predictive AI will recommend similar videos to the ones you have already seen on the platform. So you see, predictive AI predicts something based on past behavior, past data. Now, generative AI creates something out of the blue. So it creates something. Imagine you go to ChatGPT and then you can ask ChatGPT to create a scary short story in the style of Stephen King. It's gonna give you a story that is short, scary, and in the style of Stephen King. So generative AI, which is the one we're going to be talking about today mostly, generates things, creates things. So that's the difference between predictive AI and generative AI. There are four main types of generative AI, depending on what you want to achieve. So for example, there are models for images, to generate images. Some of the popular names nowadays include Midjourney and DALL-E. These are AI tools that help you generate images from scratch. Also, audio AI models. For example, Suno AI. Suno AI is very interesting because you can create music, songs with this tool. I actually did that yesterday to test, and it was really surprising. I wrote a prompt there, gave the tool some instructions, and it returned a whole finished song to me. It's crazy. We also have 11 Labs. With 11 Labs, for example, you can create voices, AI voices. You can even clone your voice. All right. We have models that help you generate video using AI, for example, Runway, Sora. And finally, we have the text models, the language models. But nowadays, they can also be called multimodal models because they also work with videos, PDF files, all right? And these are ChatGPT, Google Gemini. We also have Claude nowadays. It's another one. So when you think of ChatGPT or Gemini, for example, you are thinking of text or multimodal generative AI models. Okay. Now, I would say that these are the most important ones because of the text. Humans have always used language to better understand ideas, concepts, and the world around them. So even though the other ones can be fun, generating music, images, or videos, these ones that are text based, that are language based, I think they are more important because, it's what actually we use to better understand the world around us. We use a language. All right. So let me answer this question now. Why use AI for English learning? Let me give you some reasons here why I believe you should incorporate AI in your English studies. First of all, customization. With AI models, you can customize your learning experience to your needs, to your reality, to your circumstances, to your preferences. All right. So it can be a highly customizable experience, learning experience, I mean. Also, AI allows you to automate certain tasks. And that's really cool because, if you automate certain, let's say, boring tasks to AI, that frees up space in your mind to worry about more higher level stuff when it comes to your learning, for example. It's also useful because of the quantity, the amount of information you are exposed to if you use AI. These models, they are trained with a lot of data, so there's a lot of information there in terms of quantity. This is also good to have a plethora of data and information at your disposal. With that quantity, it also comes quality of information. Now, let me explain. The more you interact with the model, for example, ChatGPT, the more you talk to it, the more you interact with it, the higher your chances of reaching a good quality piece of information by the end. All right. So that's why I always recommend not to settle for the first response the model gives you. The idea is you get a first response and then you start tweaking it by asking more questions to the model, asking the model to do other stuff, by maybe focusing on one or two things that the model mentioned. So if you keep doing that through interaction, these models help you brainstorm many ideas and refine them. It's almost like a thinking partner. I look at AI like ChatGPT or Gemini as a thinking partner. It helps you think better and refine your thoughts about something. All right. But the key here is through interaction. And of course, speed. You know, um, you can do many things quickly if you use AI. All right. Now, we can use AI to do four main things. We can use AI to have ideas, brainstorm new ideas. We can use AI to learn something new. We can use AI to think, maybe think more deeply about something. And we can use AI to write emails, write reports, write contracts, even. All right. In today's episode, I'm going to focus more on learning with AI. So, how can you use AI to learn something? In this case, English. But remember that you can also use it to have ideas, think, and write. All right. So, now that I've given you this general brief overview of AI and generative AI, let's talk a little bit about how to use AI to learn English or to learn anything, really. Usually there are two main steps to learn something, right? Step one is researching relevant information about that topic. And step two, you need to process, group, and understand that information in a way that makes sense to you. Usually learning takes place like this: consuming information, researching information, and then taking the time to process, organize, group, and understand that information in a way that makes sense to you. All right? I think it's also worth briefly discussing here the three different types of knowledge we have. There are three different types of knowledge: explicit knowledge, implicit knowledge, and tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge, basically, this is knowledge that is codified and can be easily transmitted through written or spoken language. It includes things like facts, figures, formulas, and definitions. Examples include textbooks, manuals, and databases. So, bringing that to English learning, for example, think of grammar rules or a grammar book. A grammar book provides you with explicit knowledge about the English language. You see, because the rules, the structures are codified and explained via a manual or via a book, for example. When it comes to vocabulary, dictionaries. Think of dictionaries. Dictionaries give you the individual meaning of words. That's also explicit knowledge that dictionaries give you. All right? Aside from explicit knowledge, let's call it the theory, right, of the thing, we also have the implicit knowledge. This is the practical application of explicit knowledge. For example, pronunciation. When you are trying to develop an accurate accent and intonation through repeated practice and repeated exposure to English, you are engaging in implicit knowledge. Yes, maybe there is a little bit of explicit knowledge there if you stop to learn a different sound. But then after you learn about that sound, how it's made, you yourself, you have to practice it. You have to use it. All right? Maybe mimicking native and native-like speakers, receiving feedback. This is you engaging in developing your implicit knowledge about the topic. Another example is practicing your fluency in conversation. Being able to hold a natural conversation, including understanding idioms, humor, cultural nuances. Okay? This is usually developed over time with real life interactions and immersion in the language. So I believe, yes, it is important for you to set aside time to learn, to have more explicit knowledge about English, which is, learning maybe the meaning of certain words and expressions, learning some grammar rules, but you also need practice. You need to experience the language. You need to use it because that's going to build your implicit knowledge of the language. You're not going to just have explicit knowledge, but also implicit knowledge on how to use the language. Finally, the third type of knowledge is called tacit knowledge. I view tacit knowledge basically as wisdom. Wisdom, this is the knowledge we possess that is garnered from personal experience and context. It's the information that, if asked, would be the most difficult to write down, articulate, or present in a tangible form. That's why I view that mostly as wisdom. Once you learn about something explicitly and then you have experience practicing it, the implicit knowledge, yeah, the more you do that, the more you engage in that activity, the more tacit knowledge you also develop, the more wisdom in that topic you develop. All right. For example, picking a person like me who has been studying English for over 20 years. All right. And a person who has been learning English for 2 years. All right. And both of us have to go to a job interview in English. Chances are I'm going to perform better at that job interview in English than the other person. Not only because of all the explicit and implicit knowledge I have acquired over the years, but also because of this tacit knowledge, this wisdom with the English language that I have developed through time. So for me, probably it would be easier to spot the tone of the conversation, how formal or informal I should communicate, the exact words and expressions I could use to sound appropriate, and on like that. All right. So learning usually takes place by going through these three types of knowledge. Yeah, it's common for us to start with explicit knowledge, learning the theory, the principle behind something. Then we engage in implicit knowledge by actually doing that, experiencing that, practicing that. And doing that over time, you develop this wisdom in that topic, your tacit knowledge. All right. So I believe that AI can help you, especially with explicit and implicit knowledge. You can use AI to learn the theory of certain topics about English, some principles, yeah, some structures, even if you are learning grammar, but you can also use AI to practice these principles, practice these topics. So you are developing your implicit knowledge more. All right. So let me give you here some tips. I have basically 5 tips for you to use AI in your English learning. Okay. Number one, you can use AI to search for references or resources faster. All right. Important here, I recommend focusing on one skill at a time. All right. So look for resources for vocabulary building. Then start a new chat and look for resources for grammar practice. So focus on one skill at a time. Something else for you to keep in mind is that the model tends to give you the most common resources first, or the most popular resources first. All right. But you can also ask for lesser known references or resources. This is really cool because AI allows you to get to know resources like websites to learn English, apps, and even books that you may have never heard of before. All right. So let me quickly share my screen here, and I want to give you a demonstration of how you can do that. So I'm going to be using here a model. So take a look. So as you can see here, I'm using Gemini. Okay. I'm using Gemini Advanced, as you can see here. This is something else, guys. I mean, if you can afford, I really recommend you subscribe to a premium version of the model, ChatGPT Pro or Gemini Advanced, because, the model is smarter, let's say. It has even more data and it can give you more accurate responses. Okay. Only if you can afford, but I really recommend you do that. So for example, let me start here by giving you some context. All right. Look, I can go, I'm learning English as a second language, and I am at B2 level. Some context, all right? I'm trying to improve my vocabulary range in order to get to C1 level. Now, I'm going to ask the tool for something. Name 10 resources like websites and apps that I can use to reach this goal. All right. So let me read that again. I'm learning English as a second language and I am at B2 level. I'm trying to improve my vocabulary range in order to get to C1 level. You see, this is me giving the model some context, what my current situation is. Now I'm going to ask for something. Name 10 resources like websites and apps that I can use to reach this goal. You see? And notice that I'm asking for 10 resources. You see? Very specific. So the more specific you are, the better. Let's see what Gemini is going to return for us here. All right. So you see some websites. It's giving us vocabulary.com. For example, this site uses adaptive learning technology. It's like a personalized vocabulary trainer that adjusts your level and helps you learn words through fun games and quizzes. We also have here Memrise. Memrise makes learning vocabulary engaging with mnemonics and user-created content. It's great for memorization through repetition and visual learning. We have FreeRise BBC Learning English. Really cool, right? And for apps, it's giving us Quizlet and Babel. All right. And then some other resources here like WordNick and some extra tips. You see, so for example, I've never heard of Free Rise, guys. Free Rise, it's a website. I've never heard of that. But you see, I just learned about this website and now I can go check it out, see if it's really good and if it can help me, right? Now your job is to check those sites and apps. But remember, I told you that you can also ask for lesser known resources and you can keep interacting with the model. You don't have to stop here. So for example, can you give me, can you give me 10 more resources that are lesser known? Let's see. You see, now it's giving us other resources. You see, visual words, vocabulary ninja, just the word online etymology dictionary, Lingui. And then for apps, we have here HelloTalk, HiNative, thesaurus.com. All right. And if you want, you can keep doing it. You can keep asking for more resources, but ideally, you want to double check these resources, see if they're really useful and if they can be good for you. All right. One thing that I didn't do here, but I could have done is I could have asked for the links already, you know? So you can just ask, could you provide me with the links of these 20 resources here? And then it gives you the link. You can just click on it. Let me just demonstrate that so you can see what I mean, right? So could you provide me with the links for all these 20 resources? And then it's going to give me the links. Yeah, I don't have to go to Google and search for that. You see right here, there you go. It's already giving me the links. All I have to do is click on them and investigate those resources further. So this is one way you can use AI for, okay, to search for resources, websites, apps that can help you in your English learning journey, okay? Related to that, a second tip here is you can also use AI to search for trustworthy information, information that is backed by scientific studies, articles, or evidence. All right. So, for example, let me share my screen again here so I can demonstrate that to you. Okay, so now I'm going to start a new chat. Okay. And I really recommend you do that, by the way, guys. You know, if you're going to ask for something different, yeah, start a new chat. Yeah. Otherwise, you know, you risk getting to a point that the model just can't help you anymore. All right. So start a new chat if you're going to ask for something different. So when we were looking for resources, I was focusing on vocabulary building. Now let's focus on another area. Let's say confidence. Yeah. I want to feel more confident as an English speaker. I really lack confidence. So let me give the model some context first. I'm learning English as a second language, and I want to become a fluent English speaker. However, I don't feel very confident when speaking. Now, let me get a prompt here to show you guys. Let me paste that. What are the techniques, strategies, and principles to, let's say, develop confidence? All right. With the most scientific evidence. Cite means mention, okay? Cite at least one study per item. So let me read this prompt again. I'm learning English as a second language, and I want to become a fluent English speaker. However, I don't feel very confident when speaking. What are the techniques, strategies, and principles to develop confidence with the most scientific evidence? Cite at least one study per item. So let's see here what we have. You see, so for example, number one, set realistic goals and track progress. Instead of aiming for perfect fluency right away, break down your learning into smaller, achievable goals. For example, have a 5-minute conversation about my hobbies or order food at a restaurant in English. This is a strategy. The evidence, the study. Locke and I think Latham's goal setting theory from 1990 demonstrates that specific challenging goals lead to higher performance than vague goals. Tracking your progress helps you see how far you've come and reinforces your abilities. There's another study here by Locke again, a theory of goal setting and task performance. You see? So you can just copy that name and search for that article, that study on Google Scholar, for example, and double check it. All right? Uh, Here's the second strategy. Focus on fluency over accuracy initially. So there is the strategy and look at the evidence. Research suggests that focusing too much on accuracy in the early stages can hinder or damage fluency and create anxiety. Nation 1989. Here's the study, right? Nation ISP 1989, Teaching and Learning Vocabulary, New York, Newberry House. You see how cool, guys? So it's giving me here many different strategies to become more confident as an English speaker, but it's also giving me some evidence, some scientific studies that were done to back those. All right. So the next step here, obviously, is for you to double check all those references. Go and search for those studies and see if it's really accurate, what the model is giving you here. Always verify. Trust, but verify. Okay? Something else you can do with AI is first focusing on understanding principles, things you have to learn, things you have to study, and then actually learning those topics in detail, learning tactics, strategies, but you can focus on the principles first. Let me give you an example here. Let me share my screen again. Let's go to Gemini again, and let me show you something. So remember, let's start a new chat, all right? And here is a prompt that I've already written. Let me just paste that here into Gemini. Check it out. I'm learning English as a second language, and I am at B1 level. My goal is to learn enough English to move to B2 level in 1 year. What are the most important topics, principles, concepts of B2 level? Create a table where the first cell is the number of the concept, the second cell is the name of the concept, the third cell explains why the concept is important, and the fourth cell justifies the number. You see, guys, you see how specific this prompt is? I'm giving some context here, providing the model with some context, and being very specific about what I'm asking. All right? So let's see what Gemini responds. You see, so I asked for a table, I got a table. So what are the things that I have to study and learn to go from B1 to B2? Look, first, expanded vocabulary. Why it is important. At the B2 level, you need a wider range of vocabulary to understand more complex texts and conversations, and to express yourself with greater precision and nuance. Justification. This is foundational. A larger vocabulary underpins all other skills. Then we have here idioms and colloquialisms, why it is important, and the justification. Complex grammar, you see? Coherent writing, detailed reading comprehension, active listening, spontaneous speaking, formal and informal language. And I can even export this to Sheets if I want to Google Sheets. All right. You see, so it's giving me the main concepts, the main topics that I should focus on if I really want to go to B2 level. And also it gives us here some tips for reaching B2 level. Really cool, right? Something else that is really cool that you can use AI for is you can use AI to talk to videos. Talk to videos. What do you mean, Thiago? It's very simple, actually. You can go to YouTube, find a video there that you are interested in, and then you can get the transcript for that video. Copy the transcript, and then paste that transcript into the AI model. And you can ask the model to first give you a summary of the transcript, and then you start interacting. All right, let me give you a demonstration here. Let me show you how you can do this. So imagine, I pick a video here. I am on my channel. So imagine I want the transcript for this video. Yeah, Learn English in 2025. So I'm going to click on it. And then you can scroll down here in the description and you will see a button called transcript, show transcript. You see, you click on it. The transcript will appear here on the side. And then I usually like to go to this toggle here and remove the timestamps. Yeah, so I only have the text. You see, now I'm just going to copy all this video's transcript. So this is everything I say in the video. And now I go back to Gemini and I can ask for a summary. Look, read the following transcript and summarize the information with the most important topics. All right? And now you paste the transcript and let's see. This is really cool, right? Look, the speaker of the transcript, Thiago Alencar, is a person who frequently talks about learning English and the strategies he adopted to become fluent. He shares his personal experience and insights on how to learn English effectively in today's landscape. He also discusses the importance of assessing time and commitment, focusing on input, transitioning to output, building knowledge on top of knowledge, utilizing technology and apps, leveraging AI for language practice. This is what we're doing now. Overcoming the intermediate plateau, and final thoughts and recap. You see, it's a breakdown of all the topics I cover in that video. Some of the most important topics covered in the transcript include assessing time and commitment, focusing on input, transitioning to output. You see? So this is really cool. Yeah, it's it even links here the episode. Yeah, if you want to have access to it on Apple Podcasts. You see, so you can do that with any video that you like, especially longer videos, like, 1 hour long videos, maybe 2 hour long videos, things that are more complex. You can get the transcript on YouTube, paste it on ChatGPT or Gemini, and ask for a summary. And then remember, you don't stop here. You keep interacting with the model. Maybe I want to talk more about transitioning to output. Yeah, I could ask Gemini here to give me some tips on how I could do that, how I could transition to output better. Let me show you something else here that you can really do with this activity, which is really cool. Let me get here my this other transcript from my script. You know what you can do? You can do this, guys. Look, I got the summary from the video, right? I can ask Gemini now to do this. Now I want you to create a short test to see if I understood the content from the transcript. Isn't that cool? Check it out. Look at that. It creates a quiz with 10 questions testing my comprehension of the video that I've just watched. True or false? Thiago believes that there is one perfect method for learning English. True or false? Watch the video and answer the question. Number 2, what does Thiago recommend focusing on first when learning English? A, speaking, B, writing, C, input, D, output. Number 3, what is the 10% strategy, 90% execution principle? I talk about that principle in that video. Number 4, Thiago uses his guitar to illustrate what learning principle? This is really cool, right? So aside from getting a summary of the video and interacting about that topic, in the end, you can ask the model to give you a short quiz, a pop quiz, to really test how much information from that piece of content, from that video, you retained and you learned. Amazing, isn't it? Now, let me give you an extra tip about this. If you have a very long video, like a 4-hour video, it might not work because it's just too much information. Okay, so in that case, you can try uploading the transcript in PDF format, because then it uses another, let's say, a resource. The model there uses another resource to process all that information. It can process loads of information better if it is on PDF format. Okay. Now, the next tip is talking to PDFs. Yeah. Now, this is very simple. Yeah. It's similar to talking to videos. You can download a PDF, maybe a scientific article online, maybe the page, the chapter of a book, or even you can have a very long transcript for a video, like 4-hour transcript, paste it on a Google Doc and download it as a PDF. And then you can upload this PDF to the model. ChatGPT, Gemini allow you to upload files as well. You can upload the PDF and then you can ask for the summary, for a quiz, for more information about that topic. Okay. Also remember that when working with long documents, trust what the AI model gives you, but always verify. Okay. The longer the document, the more you need to double check the information. Okay. So don't take everything the model returns at face value. Make sure you double check, make sure you verify. So just to recap, so far I have given you 5 different ways you can use AI in your English learning. Number 1, you can use AI to search for resources like websites and apps to help you learn English. Number 2, you can use AI to search for trustworthy evidence or information, scientific articles, academic studies. You can also use AI to understand the principles for something. Maybe, what topics do I have to learn if I want to achieve this? So you can ask the model to give you the topics first, and then you have a clear map of what to study, of what to do. You can also use AI to talk to videos, remember, by getting the transcript of a video, pasting it on the AI model, and asking for a summary, for more information about that topic, and then even for a short quiz at the end. All right. You can do the same with PDFs as well. You can upload PDF documents and work with that content and asking the model to, give you more information about that, give you summaries and everything of that nature. Okay. Now, to conclude, let me give you some basic principles here to better interact with these models. Okay. So some principles here. Remember, trust but verify. Always verify the results, the information. Okay. Double check. Also, break large projects into smaller tasks. All right. For English learning, you can focus only on vocabulary first. Let's say focus only on phrasal verbs. And then you focus only on synonyms and antonyms. Be granular, be specific. Grammar, the same thing. Focus on one tense first, and then start a new chat. Talk to the model about another tense, another structure. Okay. Make sure you experiment constantly with these models because AI models are always changing. So experiment with different prompts, different interaction styles. All right. Focus on one big topic per chat. I recommend doing that. So if you have another task, another topic, start a new chat. All right. That way you avoid overloading and confusing the model. All right. Number 5, before asking the AI model about something, first think about what the answer is. You can try to predict what the model is going to answer you. And then when it does give you the answer, you can compare with your prediction. This is also a powerful strategy. Okay. And of course, if possible, use English. Interact with ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude in English because, obviously there is more data, more information in English, all right, available. But it's possible to use your native language as well. But if possible, I really recommend you use English, all right, to interact with these models, all right? So these were just a few examples of how you can use this powerful tool for English learning. Remember that you can also ask the model to correct you, help you write better essays and emails, teach you a grammar topic, give you example sentences with specific vocabulary, etc. You can also listen to the responses, thus practicing your listening skills. Yeah, it's possible for you to actually listen, you know, to the answer the model gives you. An AI voice reads that to you. So you get to practice your listening skills like that as well. And you can also talk using your voice instead of writing the prompts. So you can actually just turn on a microphone and ask for something. You don't have to write it down. All right. But I really recommend you focus on writing first, hone your prompting skills, and then try to, you know, uh, speak the prompts later, yeah, using the microphone. And many other possibilities, guys. I could stay here for hours, just giving you all possibilities, everything you can do with ChatGPT, with AI, with Gemini for English learning, but it's just, there's a lot, and it's all about your creativity, your imagination, you know, your prompt qualities. I mean, the quality of your prompts, yeah, your instructions. So I really recommend you experiment and use these models more regularly, implement those models in your daily life. All right. So here are some final words to close this topic. Remember, AI is here to stay. Make sure you adapt to this new reality so you don't get left behind. Some people say AI is the second most important human invention after electricity. I'm not sure about it being the second, but it is undeniable that AI ranks high among human inventions. While I believe there will always be a need for human intervention, AI can be a powerful ally in your English learning journey. So, make good use of it. To close today's episode, let's go to the Learner's Corner. And I have here an email from Anderson about the TOEFL test. So let me read it to you. Hi, Thiago. I hope this email finds you well. My name is Anderson Araújo, and I'm enjoying your videos and the tips for studying English, especially speaking and writing output, which are my biggest difficulties. I'm learning to take the TOEFL test to try for a PhD at an American university. And what I always hear is that English is not the most important thing in the test, but knowing how to take the test. Okay, I understand what you mean. However, I would like your advice on how I can improve specifically the speaking and the writing on the TOEFL test. Thank you for your attention, Thiago. Yours sincerely, Anderson. Thanks for the email, Anderson. Okay, so how to improve speaking and writing for TOEFL? First of all, go to the ETF's website. Go to the website of the entity of the organization that applies TOEFL, because on the ETF website, there are video tutorials there on how the speaking test works, all the parts, how the writing component works, all the parts, what is expected of you, how they grade your performance. They give you also models of responses, yeah, that you can use to get inspired by, not to copy, but to be inspired by, you know. And on the website, you also have free exercises that you can try to practice, the speaking and the writing. They provide you with some of the most common questions that are usually asked on the test, some topics for you to write an essay about, for example. So that would be the first thing I recommend. Go to the ETF website and check all the resources that are already available for free there. Secondly, I really recommend you get a teacher, man. I mean, get a teacher, get a private teacher for maybe a month, 2 months, have, let's say, at least 10 classes with a private teacher. And then you can ask the teacher to focus on practicing speaking with you for 5 classes and writing for 5 classes, for example. Why get a teacher? Because the teacher can help you practice for the speaking, for example. The teacher can ask you the questions and you can answer the questions. The teacher can also time you, and see if you are able to successfully answer the questions respecting the amount of time you are given, um, And of course, the teacher can give you feedback on how you are answering the questions. The same applies to writing. You know, um, your teacher can correct your writing for you, point out some mistakes, or if not mistakes, maybe a better way to phrase something, to structure your paragraph, how you organize your ideas. So I think the best way, if you really want to take this proficiency test, is by investing in private classes for a short time. It doesn't have to be for a long time because you have a very specific goal. You want to prepare for speaking and writing for TOEFL. So that'll be my greatest recommendation, actually. Uh, get a teacher and practice with that teacher. All right. Guys, if you want to do just like Anderson, you can send me an email at hello.teachertiago@gmail.com. You can share a question. You can share your story, anything really that you want to share with me here. And you can also send me an audio message by going to speakpipe.com/English with Thiago. I hope you enjoyed today's episode about AI. I hope you found these tips useful and try it out. Try these tips. Try to use AI more often in your English learning. And let me know in the comment section below what you thought about today's topic and what your experience has been with AI models. What have you been using AI for when it comes to improving your English? Maybe there's something here that I didn't mention. What are some tips that you have to use AI for English learning? Share them here in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out my private community and pronunciation course. All the links are here in the description of the video, in the pinned comment, and in the show notes. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single new video. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm Thiago, I'm signing off, and I'll talk to you very soon in the upcoming episode. Bye-bye.